Welcome to today's Explainer. I'm so glad you're here because today we are tackling something that is just incredibly frustrating. Imagine this for a second. You spent months memorizing all this high-level vocabulary, right? You know the big, impressive words, but then you get your test results back and your scores are just stubbornly stuck. It's exasperating. As an educator, I see this all the time, and I really want to reassure you right now, it is not because you aren't trying hard enough.
So, why are you stuck at Band 6? Well, look, if you are stuck there, it usually isn't a vocabulary problem. The hidden trap is actually poor sentence structure. When your foundation is shaky, your writing ends up sounding repetitive, and your speaking can actually become confusing to the examiner, no matter how many fancy words you throw in. Your grammar mistakes pile up, and your score basically hits a ceiling.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for breaking out of that Band 6 rut. We're going to cover the Band 6 trap, the 3 sentence types, fixing common structure mistakes, speaking versus writing strategies, and finally, your path to Band 7. Section 1. The Band 6 trap. Knowing vocabulary isn't enough. You see, the massive difference between an average student and a high-scoring Band 7 plus student really all comes down to structure. Knowing vocabulary simply isn't enough if you don't know how to build a sturdy house to put those words in. I mean, think about it. Sentence structure impacts everything. It affects your writing clarity, your speaking fluency, your grammar accuracy, and ultimately, the examiner's impression of your entire English proficiency. Band 7 plus students don't just use bigger words, they use a deliberate variety of sentence types to sound natural, flexible, and advanced.
Moving right along to Section 2, the 3 sentence types, building your arsenal.
If you want to succeed, you absolutely need to master 3 fundamental sentence structures. Think of these as your essential toolkit. You can't build a mansion with just a hammer, right? The first tool is the simple sentence. It contains one subject, one main verb, and a complete idea. For example, I study English daily. Now, a lot of students think simple sentences are somehow bad or too easy, but honestly, that is a total myth. Simple sentences are highly effective for direct communication and, most importantly, for avoiding grammar mistakes.
Next up, we have the compound sentence. This structure joins 2 independent ideas using connectors like and, but, so, yet, or. Listen to this example. I wanted to study abroad, but I was nervous about IELTS. Do you see how adding that little connector improves the fluency? It just smoothly connects 2 distinct ideas, reading incredibly naturally.
And finally, the tool that really shows off your skills, the complex sentence. This contains one independent clause, so a clause that can stand alone, and one dependent clause, which cannot. For example, I improved my English because I practiced daily. Band 7 plus students naturally weave these into both their writing and speaking to show strategic depth. All right, Section 3. Fixing common structure mistakes, breaking bad habits.
We've built your arsenal, so now let's make sure you aren't shooting yourself in the foot. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the contrast here. Look at this direct translation mistake. I like Canada because good country and education system very nice. This happens when you think in your native language, like Hindi for instance, and then translate word for word into English. Contrast that with the crisp, accurate Band 7 version. I like Canada because it offers excellent education opportunities. It's so much cleaner, isn't it?
To achieve that kind of clean structure, you need connectors, but you really have to use them smartly. You should definitely mix common connectors with smart ones like however or therefore. But here is a massive warning. Please do not memorize unnatural linking phrases and do not overuse them by stuffing one into every single sentence. It just sounds robotic.
Beyond direct translation and overusing connectors, you've got to watch out for run-on sentences and incomplete sentences. But honestly, the biggest trap? Very long, confusing sentences. Cramming too many ideas into one overly long, breathless sentence is just a classic Band 6 trap.
And keeping your meaning clear brings us to a surprisingly simple fix: punctuation. A full stop, a comma, a colon. Wrong punctuation can entirely change what a sentence means. I want to remind you that even a simple sentence can score exceptionally well if the grammar, tense, and basic punctuation are completely accurate.
Section 4. Speaking versus writing strategies. Context is king.
The way you structure your sentences has to change depending on whether you're doing the speaking module or the writing module. You just can't treat them the same way. In the speaking section, short, confident, and natural sentences are your absolute best friend. Imagine answering a question like this. I enjoy reading because it helps me relax after work. It just flows naturally, right?
Overcomplicating things while speaking usually just leads to hesitation and mistakes.
And this brilliantly illustrates why writing is a different beast entirely. Writing Task 2 demands much more structural variety. Weak writing relies on repeated patterns, whereas strong writing intentionally mixes short and long sentences and uses varied paragraph structures. Because you have the time to plan and edit, the examiner expects a much wider display of your sentence-building arsenal.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, Your Path to Band 7, the Action Plan.
You know the tools and you know the traps. Let's look at the actual examiner evaluation checklist. They are looking for sentence variety, grammar accuracy, clear ideas, and natural communication. Notice what is not on this list? They aren't looking for impossible dictionary-level vocabulary. They are looking for a beautiful balance of accuracy, complexity, and absolute clarity.
So, here is your concrete daily practice homework. Step 1. Write 10 simple sentences. Step 2. Convert them into compound and complex sentences. Step 3. Record a 1-minute speaking response. And Step 4. Underline the grammar mistakes in your writing. If you walk through these steps every single day, you'll see massive improvement. Consistency matters far more than cramming.
If you take only one thing away from this entire explainer, let it be this. Simple but accurate English often scores higher than complicated, incorrect English. I really hope that shatters the myth that you need convoluted English to succeed. Accuracy beats confusing complexity every single time.
And just as a quick aside, the IELTS is just the beginning of your journey. Once you conquer this test, if you're planning to study abroad, Amity Online Study Abroad is there to support you. They can help you explore scholarships, visa support, and pathway programs. You can check them out at studyabroad.amityonline.com.
So I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to challenge your mindset today. Are you going to keep failing by forcing complicated, unnatural sentences, or are you ready to win with simple accuracy? The choice is entirely in your hands. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Now go grab a pen, start building those perfect sentences, and I'll catch you next time.